What up, everybody? Today we got another Tam talk. We got a good one. I worked really hard on this Tam talk. I am super hyped, super happy about this Tam talk, and that is the idea of techniques, tactics, and strategies inside of your card games. I'm gonna make this just a wee bit smaller. There's this. There you go. Techniques, tactics, and strategies inside of your card games, and what these three words mean in relation to card games. So I'm sure all of you guys know, I talk about it plenty, that I am a martial artist. I've been doing martial arts since I was 7 years old. Being a martial artist was like my goal, my dream, my honestly my career choice. A while ago, I have ran a martial arts studio as the head instructor, not the owner. Had close to 200 students underneath me, constantly growing, adapting. Is actually teaching martial arts is now my part-time gig, whereas content creation is my full-time gig. But I equate and relate a lot of my card game expertise to martial arts, and genuinely vice versa, right? Martial arts has taught me a lot of cool card game concepts, and the same way that card game concepts has taught me some cool martial arts ideas, and I believe personally, in a well-rounded person with all of your hobbies can bleed into each other as long as you're willing to quote a very famous martial artist, empty your cup about how it works. And so let's talk about the ideas of techniques, tactics, and strategies, and how they relate to martial arts, right? So here's a fun here's a Tam talk about martial arts. So the techniques of your martial arts are the individual martial art moves. So your punches, your kicks, your blocks, your elbows. Front kick is a martial art technique. Punch is a martial art technique. High block is a martial art technique. They are individual selective moves. Tactics are collections of these techniques that work, right? So going, I'll use some verbiage, and then we'll continue to talk about it, right? So like a back leg front kick into a punch is a tactic, right? Some people would say it's like a combo, right? But I don't want to use that word just because it muddies up how it feels in universes. Let's use the word tactic, right? There's a collection of these techniques that work together. And then your strategy is a collection of tactics that work together, right? And so like your front kick punch is really good in this scenario, but your roundhouse kick back fist is really good in another scenario, right? So let's relate it to the martial arts, right? So the overall move that we're going to be doing is the techniques that we'll use is a back fist and then a side kick. The tactics is how I'm going to utilize these two individual techniques of back fist, side kick. I'm going to threaten a back fist, and then if I get a response, a side kick into an open area. If I don't get a response, I'm going to finish my back fist, right? So I'm going to lead a back fist up to the head, and then if they choose to move their hand up to block, I will change my idea and I'll fire a side kick because they lifted their arm. Now their bodies is underneath. If they take and they don't respond, right? They don't move their hand in order to block their head. I'll just finish the back fist and I'll score my point. What up, Seven Thunder? Thank you for the follow, buddy. And then the strategy, the idea behind this tactic is I am trying to force an opening and respond to my rival's poor block choice, right? And so if you notice, the idea of a strategy, it doesn't have the names of techniques inside of it, right? And so here is the visual representation of what I'm talking about, right?
So I'm going here.
So this is a back fist to the head and then a side kick to the body, right? We'll go back.
And see, he's not relying on the block. He's moving out of the way. And come a bit closer. Let's see that again.
Just a bit closer.
So I'm going here.
Back fist. And so he chose to block high, and so the side kick comes in. If he chooses not to block high, then you'll finish your back fist and you'll try and score your point, right? So there's the visual representation of the two techniques and then the tactics, and then I'm explaining the strategy that you would utilize these tactics and techniques. Chat, are you following me? Are you following me? You here with me? It's a lot. It's a lot. I know it's a lot. What has happened? Why are you like this? Do this. Okay, cool. Chat, you with me? Nodders in chat? Yes. Okay. So now let's take and relate it to cards, right? I still want to use these same words of techniques, tactics, strategies, and now I want to relate them. Your techniques are the individual cards that you are putting inside of your deck. You have 50 50 minimum techniques that you have put in your deck. But with that said, you can have 4x of your techniques. And so you get to take and choose which techniques you care about more, right? Like I'm playing I played Sarah this past weekend at the 1K. I really valued Tape Swing. It was a 4x technique that existed in my deck, right? I did not value Setup Strike, so it was a 2x technique that existed in my deck. And the thing about techniques is a lot of people think whenever I'm talking about techniques, I'm talking about attacks, and I'm not using the word attacks, I'm using the word techniques, because techniques are not just attack cards, they are also your foundations and actions and assets. And character card if you really want to. Tactics are a collection of techniques that work together. So your tactics are the cool, and once again, I don't want to use the word combo, but the cool combos that your techniques will lead into each other. And then your strategies is a collection of tactics that work together. So your cool, your tactics, your deck should be filled with a bunch of different tactics in order to get the job done. Especially in the My Hero card game, because our meta is so diverse. We've got 30 characters in the game. If you have a single strategy, one strategy involving your tactics, then it's really tough to encapsulate the myriad of characters that we have. So I want to relate all of my examples, right? Because I've got some specific examples, and I'm going to relate them to Midoriya, right? Because I am playing Midoriya this weekend in the provisional. If you want to come watch some Midoriya action happening, it's going to happen this weekend over on Twitch, twitch.tv/TamCardwell. I would absolutely love to see you guys all there. But we're just going to relate our these three concepts to Midoriya and how he works, right? And so the techniques that we have, right? This is our hand. We've got Setup Strike, we've got Texas Smash, we've got Reverse Throw, we've got Note Taking, we've got Plus Ultra, we've got Good Impressions. These are the techniques that I have put inside of my deck. My deck is 50 cards of nothing but these cards. Cool, we got it. My tactics, one of my main tactics is I play Setup Strike to get an easy poke in. I force them to deal with a fast Texas Smash, and then I all in on the Reverse Throw. That's a tactic, right? And then that idea of the strategy is I telegraph moves that force my rival to second guess blocks and then respond poorly to the strings that I make. And there's the strategy of my deck, right? It's your strategy is like your elevator pitch of like, what am I trying to accomplish with this deck for the most part, right? And you can have, just like you can have more than one technique in your deck, you can have more than one tactic, and you can have more than one strategy, right? I don't play Gift from Mom because I have Plus Ultra, and that's like a gift, a mega gift from Mom. So as I look at, this is a singular strategy involving a singular tactic that I have. Your deck should be compiled of multiple strategies, multiple tactics, and they should be using the same techniques inside of your deck, right? Your Texas Smashes should have multiple tactics and multiple strategies in order to use, or else the card is not so terribly good. Which is kind of why I don't like Gift from Mom. I think Gift from Mom is like a bad technique, and so it plays poorly into my tactics and strategies. So let's look at it, right? So this is the hand, this is my stage, this is my card pool. Obviously, I'm only playing 4Xs of all of these cards, and it's super, super good. So from here, right, I should be able to look at my hand and see what tactics I have available because of the techniques that my hand has given me, right? I'll move my camera just a smidge up and here so we can see everything. Right. So I should be able to look at my hand and see the tactics that are there for me, right? So as I take and I play my cards, I should be able to click this, right? And so my idea is that I have played my Setup Strike into my Texas Smash, into my Reverse Throw, and then I Plus Ultra it, and I'm able to play all of these moves to utilize it. So looking at this board state, I should be able to find the tactical line, right? I play the Setup Strike, and then from there, I could take and play the Texas Smash. From there, I could flip my Good Impressions to make my Reverse Throws easier to play. I then play the Reverse Throw. I could take in Note Taking on any of these two first moves. Once this has gotten the +4 damage, I will take and I will Plus Ultra my Reverse Throw in order to give it 18 damage, right? So I've got a 5 high for 5 because I've flipped a Setup Strike Note Taking. I've got a 7, 8, 9 high for 7 with Texas Smash. I tossed my double Good Impressions. So now my Reverse Throw is a 2 mid for 18. And this is a really, really good tactic that I have done, and the strategy is if you interact with these guys at all, I have an 18 damage move coming in afterwards. If you don't interact with these guys at all, you've took 5, you took 7, then the 18 is guaranteed, right? And I've utilized my cards on my board in order to make it happen. Does this make sense? I think I could have done a little better on my visuals, but I think this is good enough. So, here is like truly translating like the techniques, tactics, and strategies, right? Techniques are understanding your quality or your card quality, right? And excuse me, pardon me. Yum. Having good techniques in your deck is understanding your card quality, right? Inside of a martial arts mentality, it is all about like practicing your martial art moves over and over and over again, right? Become a master, do a singular technique 10,000 times. But like, if I'm playing just a bunch of starter deck cards, my techniques are not going to be as good and as high quality as they possibly could be, and I can't grind my Texas Smash and play my Texas Smash 1,000 times and turn it from a 4 high for 3 into a 5 high for 4, right? It's just not possible, because the card's been printed. Like it's logical. Where we get to really grind it out is my tactics, right? Tactics are learned and perfected while playing the game. That line that I showed you there is a line that I have seen in real life close to a dozen times, and making sure that I have played out the correct line in relation to what my opponent's doing and what I'm doing is important. Tactics are really what I'm doing, right? And then strategies are metagame choices and how you want to play the game. So metagame choices are exclusively based on what my opponent is doing and what they're interacting with the game. I was talking to pre-stream about. I was having a conversation with another really top tier player, and they were complaining about that. When you fight Jiro, what do you do, right? And I think that that's such an impossibly hard, unfair question to ask, because it doesn't allow me, it focuses exclusively on techniques, and it doesn't focus on strategies, right? When you fight against a very powerful character, it's not about what just what your opponent's techniques and tactics are. It's also about what your opponent's strategy is, right? If my opponent's strategy is to take and play this hyper-aggressive deck, then I probably don't want to play back at that same pace, right? I probably want to play at a different place and change my strategy to not match theirs, but to meld with theirs, right? And then the other thing is with strategy is it's how I want to play the game. There's a lot of people who want to play the game in very specific ways. Like one of the best examples that I can give are two really good friends who share a podcast, and that's the Brewing with Birch and Bromley podcast, right? Phil Birch, renowned, amazing Universes veteran of the game, wants to play the most crazy aggro deck that you possibly can. He has fallen in love with Tokoyami because he takes and he looks at his 7 cards every turn, and his tactic is, I can play these out. His strategy is I'm going to try and kill you on turn 2. If I don't kill you on turn 2, I'll kill you on turn 3. That's the idea. And that is completely the opposite of Chris Bromley's approach, which, if we're not playing to turn 7, I feel like I have failed at my defensive play, right? And so this is a strategy that you will have as a card game player. That's your choice as a card game player. If this is the way that I want to play the game. And your tactics and your techniques should represent that, right? Like, there's no reason for Chris Bromley to play a bunch of crazy aggro flow cards because he wants to get to turn 7. And so that's not the way to get to turn 7. You play defense disruption cards if you do that. If you are Phil Birch and you want to play Tokoyami, then the goal is not to play a bunch of disruption defense cards, because we want to play aggro flow cards, because we want to get the game over by turn 3. And so understanding what your strategy is, how you want to play the game, will help you understand what your tactics and techniques need to be inside of your deck. Now, there is one more level when it comes to understanding this at a martial arts level, right? It is, you have your techniques, you've got your tactics, you've got your strategies, and they all layer on top of each other from smallest to next biggest to next biggest to next biggest, right? And the very last, highest philosophical level is your principles. Now, the principles are as follows, right? Your principles define the entire martial art that you exist in. I am a secondary black belt in the martial art of Hapkido. And Hapkido is specifically combat Hapkido. If you can go Google it. Big shout out to combat Hapkido, I guess. If you take and you look at the principles of the art, it has 3 principles. Its first principle is harmony, which I won't get into because that's whatever. Its second principle is water, and its third principle is economy of movement, right? It's those 3 principles, right? If you look at a technique, a tactic, or a strategy, and it doesn't share all 3 of those principles, then it's not a Hapkido move, right? It's just not one. And the thing about principles as it translates to card games is your principles are your symbol choices, right? You can take and you can look at the life symbol, for example, right? We'll use that, or actually we'll use the good symbol, right? Because I used good all the way back here. If I want to play this crazy defense disruption game right now in set 1, it's not possible because the principle of the good symbol is to play big long strings of punch moves and swing on them. That's what the good symbol does. The good symbol doesn't really do anything else right now, right? The only other thing the good symbol does is you could maybe consider it like a big draw symbol, but only if you're playing Jiro stuff. Like the principles of that symbol say, I swing. Right now, the principle of the order symbol is I play really solid throw games, right? It's got the best throws, the most powerful throws. But if you want to play a flash deck under the order symbol, you certainly can, but you have one flash move to do it, right? It is not within inside the principles of those symbols, which means that you can't make strategies, tactics, and techniques out of it. As we get later on down the road, right? As we start to open up these more sets, more principles will come out for more symbols because of more symbols. Identities will be moving around. And so you have to understand that maybe the thing that you want to do inside of your symbol right now just isn't possible, but later on down the road it will be, right? What are the principles for the evil symbol? Right now, there aren't any, right? The principles for the evil symbol is not very good. It maybe tries to burn you. It plays fury moves, I guess, right? Fury is the principle, right? Because you got. But besides that, I don't know what it does. But it's very clear what the water symbol's principles are. It's very clear what the air symbol's principles are. It's very clear what the good symbol's principles are. And that's why those decks are rising up to the top, is because the principles of those symbols, it's very easy to develop strategies. It's very easy to develop tactics. It's very easy to see solid techniques. So here's my final thoughts on the idea of this triple thing of techniques, tactics, and strategies. Once again, any of my crazy Tam Talk ideas, they're all just more unique ways to get you thinking about the game, right? This is not an end-all, be-all. It is just a way for you to categorize your deck, right? There's so many people that go into deck building and they don't think about the techniques, tactics, and strategies. They exclusively think about techniques. I just take a big old pile of good ass cards and I just slam them in, and I lose every game that I play. And I go, but all my cards were so cool. I spent so much money on really cool cards. It's because you're only thinking at the very tip top level. You're only thinking about the techniques, as opposed to how do they interact with each other, and how do those interactions with each other interact with how I want to play the game and how I want to play against my opponent. And that is I feel really, really important to not just this card game, but every card game, and really everything that you want to do whenever you have a competitive mindset against each other. We could take and I know very, 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 very basic ideas of chess, right? But if we took this idea of techniques are the pieces, tactics are how you use the pieces, strategies are how you use the pieces in conjunction with each other, we have that triple line, right? I could do that same thing with playing Super Smash Brothers or Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat or whatever. I could take these ideas of techniques, tactics, strategies, and then principles, and then work it in. But let me know if you like this or not. Please let me know in the comments down below. It would be very, very cool to see your thoughts, your ideas on techniques, tactics, strategies, and if it does end up helping you, let me know by going out and joining our Discord. If you look down in the description down below, there's a link to the Discord. I'm going to hang out with chat here over on Twitch for a bit, and I want to talk through my ideas and your guys' thoughts on how I can make this, if you liked this concept or not, and really dive deep, because I think this is how I look at a lot of my deck building. Is I really care about strategies and tactics and the techniques. It's the reason that I'm down to play just a bunch of 2-ofs of my deck, right? I'm down to play 2-ofs when that's not normally the thing that you do. You just jam a bunch of 4-ofs. So anyways, thank you guys for watching the video. I greatly appreciate it. Once again, I wish you well.